They were following us. The forest was utterly disorienting, especially at night. I had no idea where we were going, where we would end up. I heard dogs barking behind us. I heard car doors slam. I heard men talking and yelling, and I heard their approach as they pursued us into the brush. We had to move fast and far and worry about navigation later. We had to survive. I turned off my flashlight. We used the guidance of the slim moon overhead. Though it wasn't very bright, thankfully there were no clouds to obscure it, only trees. When we did need to see better, I used the light on my phone. Steadily we made our way forward, every breath registered and appreciated, every heartbeat a crackle of thunder on the horizon. More distant yelling. They were not going to stop. We rested several times, still rock sure that they were after us. But they couldn't be, could they? They couldn't be that determined. We hadn't taken much with us at all. Donnie brought the cooler, which hardly had any food in it. And of course we had the first aid kit, much of which we'd used on Rain. I wasn't sure if the bullet was lodged in her or not. It may have glanced off her greater or lesser humeral tubercle. All I knew was that we needed to get to a hospital fast, a goal that seemed virtually impossible in the labyrinthine woods. Dogs barking, voices. They were still coming, charging, wildly persistent. We had to keep moving. We had to ensconce ourselves, lose ourselves. Over the course of our shambolic journey, an invisible door, some great sliding stone wall out of Indiana Jones, had been descending behind us. By the afternoon of what I gathered to be the fourth day, this door had shut at last with an inaudible boom, sealing us in pure forest silence, otherworldly in its depth. A silence of an alien tongue, a silence virgin to all things human. We foraged as best we could for edible plants and berries once we'd polished off the remnants of the cooler. There was a water bottle in there we used solely for Rain. As unenvironmental as it made me feel, I decided to leave the cooler behind as we continued our quest to find the road. Rain's starting to weaken further, sweating, having to catch her breath more often. Her bandage was a full, thick red, and I applied a fresh one to a visibly worsening wound. I fretted about blood loss, about infection. The anxiety and the fear and the panic, coupled with our expended energy, the humidity and lack of adequate water or food, made us all weak, dehydrated and dizzy with nausea and shock. Yet we needed to figure out where we were going. The only problem was, I had no idea what lay ahead of north, or east, or west, or south. There was no single way out of here, and I hadn't grabbed my compass. The woods had digested us. It is here, lost in ceaseless forest, without a designated campsite, fire, snacks, toilets, or a vehicle to which to return, where other life forms become your go-to gurus. The canvas and sleeping bag buffer zone had been erased, and you are in awe of how intuitively native animals thrive out here. You are a child to them. You are divorced from the rawness of it all, removed from a tapestry of natural awareness that seems mysterious and quasi-mystical to us, but is really our home element. I'd spent years in zoology, memorizing categorizations, writing articles and papers, learning anatomies and territories and behavioral patterns. It was all so meaningless now, because all of it was so readily unmindful of everything we had tried to label and to grasp. My specialty was nature, but my own nature was an office and a classroom and books. My own nature looked at the other nature on a page and petri dishes, in cages. Once in a while I touched. Once in a while it let me pet it. Now I was running with it. Now it had said, okay, check it out for yourself. The woods. The woods. It was God's trick is what it was. How could there be so much of these woods? After all the places we've trekked, bulldozed, explored, played in, drove through, how could there be sections of an exotic planet still popping up in this century? But there were no centuries. No numbers, no state lines, no geography, no economy, no species even. None of that existed outside our head. We have the carving knives. We insist on dicing everything up like carrots and cucumbers. But everything, that is everything, is just as solid a body as that carrot before meeting the cutting board. Everything is part of an orchestra, obeying a singular wave rhythm, humming and flowing and anamorphous, painting itself anew behind every pair of eyes. I thought of Jack London. I thought of John Muir. I thought of other people I'd seen in Discovery Channel documentaries who had spent weeks or months or even years stranded in the primal heart of nature, either voluntarily or involuntarily, and I was filled with ill-comprehending awe about their accomplishment, which was to live. Live. No admiration in anything complex. No admiration for a beautiful piece of art, a seminal mathematical discovery, or even a pearl of religious wisdom. Just awe that they had lived.